Welcome, everybody, to New York Luxury Bridal Fashion Week, Countdown to the Collections. I'm Rachel Leonard, Editorial Director of the Bridal Council. Today, we're having a conversation with Yemi Osunkoya with his label KOSIBAH. Hi, Yemi, how are you today?
Hi, Rachel. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you very much for having me on.
I'm so happy to see you. So before we go any further, what does KOSIBAH mean? Where did that name come from?
Okay. From the very beginning, I've been inspired by my mother because she was extremely supportive and nurturing when I was a very young child and was just drawing and didn't know anything to do with fashion, but was just drawing, but she encouraged and nurtured it. So the name is actually a derivation of her name. Now, her name is KOSIBAH, spelled with a C and ending with an A. But I'm of a Nigerian heritage, and there it's extremely rude to call your parent by their name. And I would have just felt really uncomfortable just naming my label the way my mom's name was spelled. So I replaced the C with a K, and I put an H at the end. So basically, it's my mother's name. It's to pay homage to her for just love and support she's given me from when I was quite young when I created the label name.
I love that story. And you're from Nigeria originally, and you're based in Brooklyn now and
Yes,
and London, both?
yes, yes. So before I came to the US 5 years ago, I was based in London, England, where I trained 30 years ago at the Paris Academy School of Fashion. And that was a school that taught the Parisian method of couture. So, creating a body block, creating, garments for an individual from start to finish, very labor intensive. And so that's where I trained. And then I opened my atelier in London, and I've been there for 25 years before I moved to New York 5 years ago.
Amazing. And so you've come to New York to make it big. You don't make it, that's what they say. So, okay, so describe, well, first of all, where are you with your new collection? Are you finished it or?
Yeah, so I'm excited to see the new collection is completed. I shot my assets last Saturday.
Okay.
And, I'm really looking forward to sharing the images and video we captured, created. I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Your last video was adorable. It just was so much fun to look. It was like, oh, this is a party. I wanted to be part of. It was really sweet.
Yes, I'm hoping to. I always try to raise the bar. So
good. Okay, so for those of us who might not be familiar with your brand, can you describe who your bride is?
Okay, so my bride is a confident woman who believes in the validity of her existence and is quite happy to celebrate her femininity. And I'm able to achieve this by my use of corsetry and bone bodices. Since it's a woman that wants to show off her figure, I'm able to do this. And, she's a woman that also desires the simpler, cleaner lines in terms of silhouette. And I create these dresses, and I then build up the embellishments or the details depending on the particular client I'm dealing with. But she's just someone that wants the clean lines.
So you work with the bride one-on-one. You are building it. You build a dress from scratch, pretty much. Yes. And so tell me the process. How they come to you, and where do you go from there?
All right. So bride comes to me. What I'm trying to achieve with each bride is, what can I do to enhance the figure of the person in front of me? I don't deal in dress sizes because that's the way I was trained. You deal in body measurement. So regardless of If you're smaller on the top, bigger, small on the top, big on the bottom, or opposite, it really doesn't matter, because the way I was trained, I am looking at individual figure, and I will use my skill to enhance the figure of the person in front of me. And to do that, I ask lots of questions. So I get to know my bride. I ask lots of questions. I want to know, their style, their lifestyle, how they got engaged, where is the wedding going to take place, what time of year, what time of day. All those things add up to the design I'm going to eventually create. I then ask them questions like, what part of your body do you want to show off? What part of your body do you have issues with? I try and know everything, and also religious and traditional elements that might come into play. For example, if you're getting married in a slightly traditional setting that requires you to cover up. Mm-hmm. And if you only have to cover up for the ceremony, but it's quite okay for you to have something different for the reception, I can incorporate that with things that come off. Or if you have to be covered up throughout, then I know, okay, we have to do that. Or if it doesn't matter, if you're getting married in a outdoors in the beach, or in the winter palace, in the palace in the winter, all those things I take into consideration when I'm doing my design. But the core thing I am trying to do is to enhance the figure of the person in front of me. Now we then talk about fabrication, fabrics, embellishments, colors. I have, with modern technology, I try to show either video or photographs of the various fabrics and embellishments we might use.
Right.
And then fabric swatches, so they can get a touch and a feel. I do about 3 or 4 designs, because I feel more than that becomes a bit overwhelming. Yeah. And then we narrow it down. The bride might say, okay, I like that element of it, but maybe if we change the skirt to this. So by the time I create that design, it's the unique design for her, meets all her needs, ticks all the boxes, but will be flattering. That's the most important thing. I can't reiterate. And then my team and I then create I do the body block, and then the fittings, because fit is essential. We do a prototype called a toile, and that's when I almost sculpt my bride. I get them to sit down, I get them to move around, raise their arms, all this, the practical things.
I love it. Yeah.
And then any fitting issues, because there are some things that would never come onto play until somebody is wearing a garment, even if it's a little fold between the waist and the hip level. Right. Most people have that. I then go and tuck it, and I call it my tummy tuck. I tuck it in and it just disappears completely. But that cannot be done unless you are doing it on the person going to wear it. It's at that point, we can know if there's any bits to change around. The point I'm trying to make is that it's the fit and also the ownership of the client, because I am aware that I'm creating a design that does not exist. So there's a lot of trust. A bride is paying a lot of money, and you're creating this thing that doesn't exist. So I go out of my way to bring them along the journey. They get ownership, like signing off on all the fabrics, the embellishments. So there are no surprises at all. Right. And what I want to do is to create an experience for the bride, that she's not just wearing the dress for the 8 hours of her wedding. It's from the whole process of the dress being made, is the whole experience and the pampering. And, I just want them to think they are the only ones I'm dealing with, even if I'm dealing with lots of clients at the same time, right through to the delivery of the dress, the final try on. My dresses usually have a lot of things on the inside that make them look the way they look on the outside. So if either a bridal stylist that I'm working with, or myself in my white glove service to actually go and dress the bride, if either of that can happen, I ensure somebody at the wedding comes for the final fitting with all cameras have video now, and right. They videotape the final fitting, because I want the dress to be worn perfectly, right? And I have to ensure it's done that way. So it's a very personalized service and an experience that the bride will enjoy as part of the lead up to her wedding.
I love it. I mean, boy, a bride must feel so special going to you and having the designer just create something just for them. And it's the only dress out there and it's one of a kind. I mean, what an amazing service. Um, did I see that you're coming out with a ready to wear line or?
Yes. So, because I've done 30 years of couture and a combination of wanting to give more to people that love my dresses, but probably cannot, you know, budgetary wise have access to it. And also the whole pandemic situation, I created this collection. So it's actually a continuation of the previous collection with some new pieces added in
Okay.
because it has to be sustainable. We can't just create uh, garments and then, due to the, I hate the word unprecedented situation we were in, but it was almost like, you know, lots of things did not happen the last season. So rather than just parking all that, we're just adding more to it.
Right.
Um, and that's why it's actually called the Asheyori AG collection. AG is actually a Nigerian name for, well, a Yoruba name for two. So it's Asheyori 2, but I call it Asheyori AG. And this is one of the dresses in the collection.
That's
Behind me.
beautiful.
Thank you
So
very much.
this will be available for wholesale. Is that right? Or you can still purchase this collection from you directly?
It's a combination of both. It's a
Okay.
combination of both because this whole period has taught us that there are some things that we did because it was what we did.
Right.
But just like we're having the Zoom um,
Conversation.
interview now,
Yeah.
and we are showing on Pull Quest, there are some things that have just evolved and changed, and I'm moving along with that. And I realize sometimes you make your own process, you know,
Right.
and what
Yeah.
works for you and what you feel again is sustainable. That's really important. So that's the direction I'm going.
I love it. I love it. So, is there anything else you want to talk about with us?
Yes, now I wanted to say that the ready to wear collection is the Yemi O by KOSIBAH label because
Okay.
I have built my bespoke brand going on 30 years in September, and I don't want to confuse the two. So the couture line is the KOSIBAH, and the ready to wear line is Yemi O by KOSIBAH.
Well, that sounds like a perfect way to
Yes.
distinguish the two.
And I'm really looking forward to having the dresses in the shops. I use this period to develop my marketing and sales team, and we are geared towards having the dresses in shops all over the US, in the UK, and some other parts of the world. So I'm quite excited, and I really couldn't do that with couture. It just doesn't work. So that's
Yeah.
where the ready to wear has its place, and then the couture for people that I can touch and feel.
Well, thank you so much. It was really enjoyable speaking to you.
Thank
And
you.
I just wanted to say thank you again. And goodbye, everybody. And stay tuned for our next conversation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.